Your YouTube channel has been picking up a lot of buzz within the last couple of days. You guys were trending on Twitter, you know, because of the Harriet Tubman Sextape parody that you guys put out. Where are you going with that? Because I saw that Daystorm, a YouTuber and actor in the sketch, tweeted that the vision behind it and the end result ended up being two very different things. So what was the vision behind it?
Well, the vision is traditional comedy. The oppressed take advantage of the oppressor. That was what I saw, although it could have been executed better, but that's what I saw without understanding the underlying thing is that, I mean, although in the video she seduces the slave master, it implies the previous rapes. So I just saw her taking advantage of the slave master and I just let it go. I mean, I have hundreds of pieces of content. We probably have 100 poems that I've approved already. We probably have 10 web series. We probably have, you know, I don't know how many skits like that. We have so many skits. And, you know, in 30 years, I have never once pulled out a piece of content.
Right,
30 years. You know, I've always had controversy. I mean, I don't, this is different because, you know, there's a line which most poems don't cross and most records don't cross. When I got called and I found out that black women were so disturbed by it, it broke my heart. I'm sure I'm gonna piss off everybody again tomorrow. Right. I got shit that's coming that's gonna piss people off.
Oh, what's coming tomorrow?
I can't tell you, not tomorrow necessarily, that day tomorrow, but within the next future, near future, there'll be shit that piss people off.
Right.
But it's not likely it'll break my heart and make me react as quickly. People around me like, oh, does that mean that you're gonna let them push you around? No! This is about black women, which is, you know, they can push me around a little quicker than the rest of the entire world.
Right.
And they didn't push me around, they educated me on how hurtful it was because I never considered rape. I just saw her seduce, take advantage of, and turn the tables on the slave master. That's what I saw. It's really f***ing bad and I'm really sorry I did it.
Wade in the water. Wade in the water. Oh, shit, they coming.
Harriet, I've never seen you be this frisky before.
Oh, massa. All these years I've been acting like I didn't love our special time together. Tonight, that's all gonna be different.
This ought to be fun for the both of us, as long as Mary don't find out.
Oh, I was never gonna tell.
Ooh, Harriet. Drop it like a hot coal.
Do you see your, oh my goodness, the outcome of the Trayvon Martin event, tragedy? Do you see your, oh my goodness, someone like Russell Simmons making the damning mistake that he made in terms of his portrayal of Harriet Tubman? So I would like us to take our understanding to the level where all of these things we can put in a context and a framework of understanding. Because indeed, if we do understand racism, white supremacy as a system, as opposed to engaging in the fantasy that we are somehow post-racial because we have a black president.
Outstanding. I guess just really quick with regards to Russell Simmons, since you brought that up for listeners, I guess if folks are not aware, it was a big controversy this past week. It was a video that was released through his distribution company where it was some sort of portrayal of Harriet Tubman and some sort of sex act with a white slave owner, and a lot of people, rightly so, were very offended, very upset by this, and he ultimately did apologize and take the content down, but the damage had been done. It reminded me, because this is not the first time that I've seen this sort of thing. I think Cedric the Entertainer in the film Barbershop, where he made the comment about Rosa Parks and saying that she didn't really do anything. She just sat her, I think he said, ASS down.
Now, I probably wouldn't say this in front of white folk, but in front of y'all, I'm gonna speak my mind. Rosa Parks ain't do nothing but sit her black ass down.
And I heard a lot of black people, they were very upset, name-calling Russell Simmons and that sort of thing. Is this something where you would say this is what happens when black people, non-white people, when we are confused about what racism, white supremacy is?
Well, I would say that if indeed, I didn't see it, but it has been described to me by a number of people who have seen it, that this would indicate that Russell Simmons, whether he understands it or not, has had a high level of black self-hatred, that he is a victim of high-level black self-hatred in the system of racism, white supremacy. I don't care how much money he has. Sometimes people get carried away thinking that they have financial resources, but the system of racism, white supremacy pays the highest amount of money to those people who are willing to demean and degrade themselves, whether they understand what they're doing or not. And I would just like to, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall in the conference room and at the conference table or wherever the discussion took place about planning and executing that horrific blasphemy against black people. Who was present? Were there people who classify themselves as white present, egging a person like Russell Simmons and company, urging them on and saying this is okay? Like the people who urge on black people to produce records where they are demeaning and degrading themselves and other black people. You see, as long as we are willing to demean and degrade ourselves and destroy ourselves, then racism, white supremacy continues to exist in a very powerful fashion. So I would hope it's more important that Russell Simmons, more important than apologizing, that he will do some mirror studies and try to get immersed in an understanding of racism, white supremacy. And if he doesn't choose to do that, then thinking black people should not purchase or be involved in anything that he markets or puts out for people to buy. So this is what we have to begin to understand. We have brains inside of our heads, and we have to understand we are the first people on the planet. Everybody came from us. Nobody has more than us. It's just a question of will we, because our self-respect, just like Russell Simmons, his self-respect as a black man has been obviously totally annihilated. He has no self-respect as a black man. He may not even understand it. He has no self-respect as a black man. And self-respect is essential to use your brain at the highest level. And so this is why the system pays us to call ourselves niggers, bitches, whores, gangsters, and thugs. And then when George Zimmerman says, well, there's a black young man, he must be a gangster and a thug, we get hurt and upset. So again, what does the system of racism, white supremacy, does it teach black people to respect and to value themselves, or does it teach them to demean and to degrade themselves? And this story about Russell Simmons and what he chose to portray of one of our historic figures, Harriet Tubman, and to have her having sex with a slave master. And this is something that people are supposed to laugh at. This is 2013. And a man who is maybe a multimillionaire. That's what he, as a black man, thinks to do. In August of 2013, shortly before the 50-year anniversary of the March on Washington. So, the system has caused us to be warped in many ways, sick, psychologically sick, in terms of our respect for ourselves. So we're going to all have to work on understanding and deciding that we are going to help ourselves heal as the parent people on this planet. We are not going to continue in the demeaned and degraded role that the system of racism, white supremacy, has had to put us in, and which all too many of us are carrying out blindly because we don't understand. They don't know what level of self-respect and dignity is required to be leaders in that household. So that's where we have to recover in ourselves and become, you see, the most peaceful people, the most intelligent, the most dignified people the planet has ever seen, because they're like their ancestors who were the first people on this planet. They have recovered themselves. And so when black people are in that posture, you know, the white people will get themselves in line, or they will get on a spaceship and go to another planet. But they will know, wait a minute, these black people, these are the parent people. And they're not going to tolerate this. They're not going to tolerate injustice. They are not going to tolerate trashiness. They are simply not going to allow it to take place. Now that's who we need to realize what it is that we're supposed to be doing. And I hope Russell Simmons will get this message, that he ought to be so ashamed of himself that he needs to stay in hiding for the next 25 years and never show his face. How dare you demean the name of Harriet Tubman? How dare you? So I hope he gets this message. Dr. Cress Welsing is saying to you, how dare you? How dare you?
Thank y'all for coming out. God bless you. Good night.